going to be a fun show, and I feel like a lot of you guys are going to disagree with what I got to say on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and of course, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. But coming up, we're going to be talking about Kyler Murray and why I truly do believe it makes a lot of sense for the Vikings to potentially trade for him this offseason. And I think the first reason why I think a lot of us are going to disagree on today's show is that Kyler Murray, his stock is at an all-time low. I think if you asked any NFL fan of any team, even Cardinals fans, like they would all say, oh, Kyler Murray sucks. That guy's got no talent. He's got no business being a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that. Like, yes, he has not had a good last 24 months being an NFL quarterback, but I think people forget truly how talented this guy is. And with me saying the Vikings should go out there and try to trade Kyler Murray, and I'll give you guys a bunch of reasons here coming up. I'm not saying I don't believe in J.J. McCarthy developing into something at some point. Like, he could still potentially be that franchise quarterback that we will all hope for the Minnesota Vikings. But I think in the short term, the Vikings need an immediate upgrade where you can just drop somebody in. They would play much, much better football than J.J. McCarthy would next season. And even though Kyler Murray has been not playing his best football over the last 24 months, he would immediately be an upgrade over J.J. McCarthy. If Kyler Murray was on the 2025 Minnesota Vikings, this team would have won the NFC North. We would have beat the Bears. We would have probably beat the Ravens. We would have played a lot better football than what we did this season because this team went 9-8 with some of the worst quarterback play in the National Football League this season. So coming up, we'll discuss Kyler Murray, the financials, the contract, his superstar talent that I still think is in there. But you guys let me know your thought first. Kyler Murray to the Vikes. Would you trade for Kyler Murray? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. Really curious to see what you guys got to say on this. Maybe by the end of today's show, I'll change your guys' answer to this question. But you guys let me know your thoughts first on today's show. All right, so let's talk about Kyler Murray here. And I think the first thing that we need to address is obviously the contract because Kyler signed a hefty contract a couple of years ago, and it would be a decent amount of money to take on. So this is his contract. If he would be traded to another team, it would be a cap hit of $39.83 million in 2026. It does go down to $33 million in 2027. Then there's actually a team option, which I love in terms of this whole conversation about Kyler Murray, of $43 million in 2028. And also in terms of draft capital that you would have to give up, probably a 5th or 6th round pick. I mean, it's not going to be a day 2 pick, that's for sure. Maybe a high day 3, but I think it's more likely going to be a 5th or 6th round pick. And also, maybe the Cardinals, maybe they want a 5th round pick, but then what if the Vikings just say, hey, we'll give you a 4th, but you eat majority of that contract, and maybe you could get Kyler Murray on the books for like 20 and 25 million in 26, 27. And then also, if it doesn't work out, it's not like you're connected to him until like 2029. Like, it would just be a 2-year window with Kyler Murray. You let J.J. McCarthy develop, and also a guy like Kyler Murray who does have some injury history. Okay, well, then J.J. can just step in and play for him. So I think the contract is a little more obtainable than most people give it credit for. But the biggest concern I do think with Kyler Murray is the scheme fit with Kevin O'Connell. Because I still think Kevin O'Connell, his scheme works best with a quarterback who can be under center, statuesque quarterback who can make plays when you ask him to, but can attack the middle of the field and can deliver strikes from within the pocket. Now, Kyler Murray's passing chart in 2024, I chose this season since this was the last year he was healthy for a majority of the season. And if you guys see between the numbers in that 10 to 20-yard range, I mean, he had a passer rating of 123.3, had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, was 30 of 41. And also pushing the ball downfield that season, he was better between the numbers than outside, and I was only on 3 passing attempts, so not a huge sample size. And in this offense that they were running in Arizona this season, it was a lot of underneath stuff. But he did attack the middle of the field pretty well. And, the numbers, don't support the claims that Kyler can't throw over the middle of the field. Like, I think even if you go back, I was looking at the 22 season, or I think it was the 22 and the 2021 season, he was attacking the middle of the field at a pretty high level. And that's just him being a pure passer. Now, I do think Kevin O'Connell would have to change his system a little bit to cater to the quarterback. And then also the question mark becomes, well, Kevin O'Connell, what we know about him is that he won't change his system for the quarterback. So that throws a wrench into things with Kyler Murray. But if he were to change his system, Kyler makes some sense. And, his raw numbers, especially just his pure passing stats over the past 4 seasons, not including 2025 when he missed majority of the season because of the soft benching going on there in Arizona. Solid. But I do think Kyler, he still's got that great dual threat ability. He can still be a great dual threat quarterback. I mean, his rushing stats, over those 4 seasons, pretty damn solid. I mean, even in his second year in the NFL, he almost ran for 900 yards that season. So he still has that in him. I mean, you guys see the touchdowns here. Like, he is a dynamic runner in the red zone. And when the play breaks down, like, he can still make plays. And especially with the Kevin O'Connell system, like, if he can attack the middle of the field and those deep in-breaking cuts to Justin Jefferson, and they can get on the same page, and then you add that extra layer of Kyler being able to escape outside the pocket, make plays with his legs, I think the scheme fit, yes, I still would have some concerns. It's not like I'm saying, oh, Vikings get Kyler Murray. I got no concerns about him fitting with the scheme, but maybe I'm not concerned as much as other people are in terms of the Kyler Kevin O'Connell scheme fit. And number 3, superstar talent. Kyler Murray is a superstar talent. This guy was drafted in the top 10 of the MLB Draft, and he was obviously the number 1 overall pick in the NFL Draft. That's in him. He has superstar in him. When you hear the name Kyler Murray, like one of the best Texas high school quarterbacks of all time, the number 1 overall pick, won the frickin' Heisman at Oklahoma back in 2018. Like, he has that ability in him. And I think with a guy like him not working out right now in Arizona, if the Arizona Cardinals move off him, I think that would put a massive chip on his shoulder where he would want to still prove everybody wrong. And he's only 28 years old. He's got a lot of football left to be played. So we'll talk about this more in depth here in a second. Interesting conversation, though. I'm not saying it's like I'm pounding the table they need to do it. I just think it's something that they should seriously consider, and it would make a lot more sense in my book than I think compared to a lot of people watching. But if you guys could hit that subscribe button today, help us reach 69,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Just need 344 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button. So daily videos, we do it all here, short form content, live shows, mailbags, we do the whole thing. So hit that subscribe button today if you guys haven't already. And we'll talk about Kyler Murray here in just a second. But before we do so, want to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 whole year. Now it's the new year, which means big goals. And if you guys got no time to cook, well, Factor makes it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs, so you can eat well without the shopping or cooking. Now, the biggest reason why I love Factor is because they got no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils, which is huge for my diet. And they also have meals that fit your goals and schedule, where it's healthier eating, calorie management, and more protein. I love the Texas Cheddar Burger you guys see on screen right now. That's absolutely delicious, but they have 100 rotating weekly meals. Options include high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, and ready to eat salads. And plus, the new Muscle Pro collection supports strength and recovery. So check that out as well. But head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in that promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. All right, let's address some of the negative around Kyler Murray, the leadership issues. Now, when he signed that contract, there was the clause in there that he couldn't play video games past a certain time, and definitely a red flag. I mean, if you are giving a guy, which also from the Cardinals' perspective, it's like, okay, you're giving this guy a $250 million contract, but you're also going to put a clause in there that he can't play video games. Well, if you need to put that clause in there, why the hell are you even giving him that contract in the first place? But that was old Kyler. This guy's 28 years old now. I would imagine he has matured a lot over the last couple of years. I mean, you guys just take yourself, for example. Compare yourself from when you were 24 years old to when you were 28 years old. I mean, I'm 26 years old now. If I had to compare myself to when I was 22, I feel like I've matured a lot. I'm assuming most people watching this would say the exact same thing. So I'm assuming Kyler, 20 years old, kind of in that same age range as the guys like Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, where they're high draft picks, didn't work out in the NFL, but they matured a lot. Their games matured a lot, and then they ended up hitting their stride. during like their athletic prime of their NFL career. And I would imagine Kyler, for a guy who is incredibly, hyped up coming out of high school, hyped up coming out of college, I would imagine he's got a massive chip on his shoulder to get back to who he was. Again, he really does remind me of that same class of like the Darnolds, the Trevor Lawrences, and he's had more success than Sam Darnold did before he turned around his career. And he's had pretty similar success compared to a guy like Trevor Lawrence. So if he's available for cheap, I think the Vikings just take the risk and try to go for it. Now, also Kyler, this kind of speaks into the superstar talent he has. He's one of the best athletes we have seen over the last 10 years, just flat out. And the fact that he was a top 10 draft pick in both the MLB draft and the NFL draft, I think is amazing. But, I mean, just check out some of his accolades. He was the Heisman Trophy winner in 2018, the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year that year as well, first-team All-American, first-team All-Big 12, a 9th overall pick in the 2018 MLB draft, first overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. So he's got those accolades. He's got some hardware, and I think, Kyler, obviously he hasn't been the most winning quarterback in the NFL, but honestly his career record's not bad considering the organization he's from. 38, 48, and 1. I don't think people realize how bad the Cardinals organization is. I think he elevated that organization. I mean, the fact that he was in the playoffs, it was back in the 2020 season, or 2021 season, just a couple years after he was drafted, I think that was an incredible accomplishment. He's never had great teams. He's never had great coaching staffs, and he has made the best out of, I think, a very shitty organization in a bad situation. Where if you would bring him to the Vikings, I think just the organization would elevate him. So if he's on the table, I would do it. And yeah, those are my thoughts on Kyler Murray. I know you guys are probably going to disagree with me a whole lot on today's show, but that's A-okay. That's why I love what I do. So if you guys could, give me a skull down below in the comment section. If you guys watch this entire thing, we'll get on out of here. As always, Skull Vikes.